Princess Anne has just publicly unveiled a jaw-dropping revelation in the ongoing saga of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's divorce. Early this morning, at exactly 9:30 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time, the Superior Court of California officially dismissed what Meghan had filed as a luxury clause, branding it a legal farce. The Royal Communications Office released a commanding and sharply worded statement on behalf of Princess Anne, marking the monarchy's first formal, no-nonsense response to the high-profile separation of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. In her statement, the Princess Royal revealed a previously hidden marital agreement that has stunned both legal scholars and royal historians alike. Known as the Sovereign Lifestyle Accommodation Provision, this clause was reportedly signed by Harry and Meghan in early 2020, just months before the couple stepped away from their royal duties. The clause outlined a list of non-negotiable lifestyle expectations that Meghan allegedly insisted upon during their marriage, an arrangement so lavish it seemed more suited to diplomatic protocol than a typical civil union. According to the details released, the clause demanded access to royal diplomatic privileges, residences with helicopter landing access, weekly yacht charters equipped with full luxury amenities reportedly valued at over £300,000 per voyage, exclusive private jet use for all intercontinental travel, and spa-quality accommodations in both permanent and temporary residences. These extravagant expectations were never approved by the royal household and were, by all accounts, purely personal between the spouses. Yet in Meghan's California court filing, they were presented as unmet obligations, contributing to the breakdown of the marriage. The reaction from legal and constitutional experts has been one of disbelief. During a closed session on January 30th, 2026, the California court rejected Meghan's claims outright, stating the clause was incompatible with U.S. family law and public policy. The judge emphasized that no civil marriage contract can impose rules resembling royal protocol, noting that the filing was a legal curiosity bordering on absurdity. Princess Anne, speaking as Lord High Steward of Royal Family Affairs, directly addressed the ruling. She made it crystal clear: the royal family does not support the framing of personal marital expectations as obligations of the crown. Any suggestion that the sovereign estate or royal operations were bound to Meghan's demands is categorically false. Anne also condemned what she described as the casual weaponization of children as brand extensions and emotional leverage, a pointed reference to the ongoing custody disputes over Archie and Lilibet, who have been inconsistently photographed in public media since birth. "It is not enough to bring children into the world under a royal surname," Anne said. "If one fails to provide them security, stability, and ethical guidance, the royal warning lands hard. Public image and personal ambition cannot override responsibility and integrity within the family." This royal bombshell emerged amid intensifying media scrutiny following an explosive podcast released on January 31st, 2026. Renowned Canadian psychologist Jordan Peterson accused Meghan of building her post-royal identity on what he calls archetypal hypocrisy. Peterson claims Meghan presents herself as a feminist victim of monarchy, while her past is deeply embedded in patriarchal networks she now publicly criticizes. His podcast, which reached over 15 million streams within just 48 hours, outlines in meticulous detail Meghan's alleged networking voyages aboard ultra-luxury yachts in the Persian Gulf between 2009 and 2011, long before she met Prince Harry. The yacht, repeatedly named in the podcast, the Golden Mirage, is reportedly worth over $50 million. Peterson cites deleted emails, photos, and testimony from a former hospitality director aboard the vessel, painting Meghan as an ambitious connector between Western entertainment and Eastern capital. According to Peterson, she leveraged elite gatherings disguised as philanthropic-themed events to cultivate relationships that would later advance her career. In one particularly striking line, Peterson described Meghan as a modern-day Icarus, flying too close to the sun of global influence, with wings waxed by calculated charm and ambition. While the palace has not fully addressed these allegations, Princess Anne's statement clarified that the Golden Mirage visits did not involve any member of the royal family, were not sanctioned diplomatic events and had no connection to royal finances or statecraft. Anne emphasised a sharp distinction between the Crown's funds and the private spending of former royals. She reminded the public that royal expenditures come from sovereign grants, estate revenues, and long-standing agricultural and heritage businesses, not from personal yacht trips, private jets, or other luxury indulgences. Anne also reaffirmed the monarchy's long-standing principles of fiscal restraint, self-sufficiency, and transparency, originally established by Queen Elizabeth II in 1994. Under King Charles II, these principles have evolved into what is now called the Sovereign Compact, an initiative aiming to reduce taxpayer dependence by 40% over the next decade. Anne closed her statement with a pointed warning: "The royal family will not serve as a stage for personal theatrics, and those who leave the institution must not drag past controversies back into the public spotlight." As media attention swelled, focus intensified on Jordan Peterson's explosive revelations. His hour-long broadcast, The Mirage of Virtue, is based on what he calls a verified dossier compiled by a network of private analysts, former Yacht staff, and online investigators who tracked Meghan's social ascent long before she entered Kensington Palace. At the centre of the exposé is the Golden Mirage, a luxury yacht docked off Dubai during the summers of 2010 and 2011. Owned through a Cayman-linked energy conglomerate, the yacht reportedly hosted private galas and soft diplomacy events attended by oil magnates, hedge fund executives, film producers, and elite socialites. According to Peterson, Meghan's presence was highly strategic. She allegedly arrived on a private Gulfstream G650 charter from Los Angeles, guided by handlers and covered under strict non-disclosure agreements. She is said to have acted as a cultural bridge, connecting Middle Eastern investors with Western entertainment ventures under the guise of philanthropy and environmental summits. Peterson insists these claims are supported by flight manifests, whistleblower emails, deleted photos, and first-hand testimony from former yacht staff. One witness described Meghan as professional, elegant, and consistently networking, introduced at one event as an American actress capable of connecting Dubai desert palaces to Hollywood red carpets. While none of this activity was illegal, Peterson argues it exposes deep symbolic contradictions when contrasted with her public persona as a victim of patriarchal oppression. "It's the performance of suffering," Peterson said, "marketed as empowerment, but sourced from silence in patriarchal spaces whenever it served her ambition. This is archetypal hypocrisy, an unintegrated shadow projected as manipulation in public symbolism. In this case, Meghan Markle has sold that symbolism to millions across the globe, blending personal ambition with the public narrative of struggle and empowerment. The palace, pressed by the press for clarification, responded only through Princess Anne's statement, confirming no official royal mission or staff member participated in the Dubai events. No delegation from the United Kingdom was dispatched, and no member of the royal family interacted with the yacht's hosts or guests. Yet leaked materials continue to circulate online. Filtered images, allegedly pulled from Instagram accounts deleted in 2015, show a figure resembling Meghan aboard the multi-tier yacht, with men later linked to Emirati sovereign wealth. Metadata from one image reportedly places it off the coast of Jumeirah Beach on July 21, 2010. Perhaps more revealing is the timeline in 2011. After the alleged Dubai visits, Meghan's public career surged. She landed her breakthrough role on Suits, appeared on red carpets, and gave a series of soft interviews portraying herself as the humble girl next door chasing her dreams. The timing has prompted questions about how early elite connections may have propelled her into international prominence, a point that continues to stir debate in media and royal circles. Despite the scrutiny, the key fact remains: Meghan Markle's meteoric rise in the entertainment world and her complex personal narrative intersect with elite networks, extraordinary expectations, and public fascination. The royal family's stance, articulated so clearly by Princess Anne, is unmistakable. Personal ambition must not entangle with the symbolic body of the crown. And in this story, the events of 2009 to 2011, the Golden Mirage and Meghan's strategic positioning are all pieces of a much larger puzzle. Meghan's carefully managed image, her meteoric career, and her post-royal persona continue to attract scrutiny, raising questions about the intersection of personal ambition, public symbolism, and the enduring weight of the royal name. While speculation will continue, the concrete details revealed by Princess Anne and Jordan Peterson provide a rare and unprecedented look into how luxury, power, and influence intersect long before the cameras of Kensington Palace ever rolled. And even as the media and public dissect these revelations, the timeline remains clear. After the Dubai visits and the high-profile networking on luxury yachts, Meghan's rise in 2011 to television stardom and red carpet prominence accelerated sharply. She secured her breakthrough role on Suits, began appearing at major events, and landed interviews portraying herself as the girl next door with big dreams and humble beginnings, showing how early elite exposure may have influenced her path to fame. The narrative, according to Jordan Peterson, appears carefully curated, possibly even manufactured, to erase a crucial transactional chapter in Meghan Markle's early career, a period that clashes sharply with the carefully constructed moral branding she projects today. Peterson also flagged several notable associates from that era, with one name appearing repeatedly: Marcus Anderson, the influential Soho House executive whose reach in elite social and business circles has long been the subject of quiet acknowledgement by insiders. Peterson claims Anderson's network was pivotal in orchestrating private events that blurred the line between social grooming and strategic matchmaking. While Anderson has not publicly responded to these allegations, multiple royal commentators have described him as an unsung architect of Meghan's modern persona, a man quietly opening doors and smoothing paths that would later define her image in Hollywood and beyond. Even more controversially, Peterson's dossier hints at secondary connections between Meghan and Malaysian financier Joe Low, currently a fugitive linked to the notorious 1MDB scandal. There is no direct evidence connecting Meghan to Low, but the broader narrative of luxury yachts, private dinners, and networked glamour undeniably mirrors the scenes detailed in his legal case, creating a cloud of suspicion that has captured international attention. In a rare move, the royal household issued a second statement on February 1st, clarifying that no member of the Windsor family has had any financial, diplomatic, or personal connection with either Marcus Anderson or Joe Low beyond formal courtesies. The unusual phrasing of this disavowal signals that the palace is taking Peterson's claims seriously, even while declining to legitimize them outright. Meanwhile, Oprah Winfrey, who famously conducted the 2021 interview with Harry and Meghan, has remained silent on Peterson's allegations, sparking speculation that critical disclosures about Meghan's past may have been left out of that earlier discussion. Media commentators argue that if the Golden Mirage incident occurred as described, it could significantly disrupt Meghan's carefully cultivated public narrative as a feminist icon purportedly wronged by aristocratic tradition. Beyond public perception, it raises questions about how modern media can amplify selective victimhood while often concealing the financial and social scaffolding that supports rapid ascents to fame. Peterson's revelations, coupled with Meghan's rejected legal demands in California, have forced the British royal family to act swiftly to reassert both fiscal boundaries and institutional values. At the forefront of this response stands Princess Anne, widely regarded as the monarchy's most stoic and uncompromising figure. On February 2nd, she reiterated a categorical separation between royal identity and personal indulgence. Her remarks were neither reactionary nor perfunctory. They were strategically calculated to defend the Crown's integrity while clearly delineating personal actions from institutional responsibility. Anne emphasized that the Golden Mirage yacht incident had no connection to Crown diplomacy, state missions, or any sanctioned royal itinerary. Moreover, she underscored that the events were neither funded, supported, nor condoned by the royal household, a crucial clarification amid swirling media speculation. The palace is now working to protect its reputation as public scrutiny escalates. The Sussex debacle has fueled dangerous misperceptions, with some audiences conflating private luxury abroad with royal extravagance at home. To correct this, Anne has reiterated that less than 25% of royal expenditures come from the sovereign grant, a public fund derived from Crown estate profits. The remaining 75% originates from internal revenues, agricultural leases, estate tourism, including Sandringham and Balmoral livestock operations, and archival licensing. Anne also highlighted the enduring significance of the Royal Spending Charter, first established by Queen Elizabeth II in 1994. This charter emphasised fiscal restraint, transparency, and the elimination of ceremonial excess, principles which have since evolved under King Charles III into a doctrine of monarchical austerity. The Charter's reforms continue to shape royal practice today. Foreign travel related to diplomacy is now co-funded by host nations. Residences not in active use are leased or open to the public, and family members outside of active duty are excluded from discretionary security funding. The result is a leaner, more self-regulated monarchy, one that must now protect itself not only from mismanagement, but also from optics. Meghan's presence aboard the $50 million yacht, her use of private jets, and stays in exclusive properties pose a direct reputational risk, even if undertaken entirely independently of palace oversight. This is why the royal household did not simply reject Meghan's luxury-based claims. It used the opportunity as a teachable moment. The institution cannot, and will not, be held accountable for the lifestyle aspirations of former members. Anne's remarks were firm and unambiguous, signalling a deeper reset. The monarchy must be defined by discipline, service, and integrity rather than adornment or spectacle. In today's world, awash with celebrity culture, influencer privilege, and curated digital personas, the Crown is asserting a distinct message: substance over performance. As legal filings ricochet through California courts and podcasts ignite global controversy, Princess Anne has pivoted the monarchy's focus toward the most serious consequence of the Harry-Meghan rupture: the welfare of their children. In a controlled briefing at St James's Palace on February 1st, Anne spoke not in legalese or financial terms, but in human language. Her message was simple and uncompromising. Marriage disputes are private, but childhood instability is not. The Crown's concern is not the luxury yachts, private jets, or lavish residences. It is the duty of parents to provide stability, education, and emotional security above all else. Insiders confirm that Anne has personally requested internal reports detailing how often Archie and Lilibet have moved residences since 2022, how schooling arrangements have shifted, and whether media appearances, filming schedules, or speaking tours have disrupted their daily routines. While no public figures were released, palace sources noted a pattern of instability, with Anne bluntly criticising Harry and Meghan for allowing media timing and brand management to take precedence over family responsibility. One court-adjacent official described the resulting narrative as an environment no child should inhabit. The rebuke was especially pointed given Meghan's California filing, which attempted to frame the failure to secure ultra-luxury accommodations, private jets, yacht charters, and five-star residences as a marital breach, an argument palace insiders described as grotesquely detached from the realities of parenting within royal standards. A senior advisor characterized it as an attempt to elevate indulgence into obligation, a moral line Anne considers fundamentally crossed when children are involved. This moral framework explains why the palace has refrained from attacking Meghan personally over the Dubai allegations while still condemning a broader pattern: glamour-driven narratives eclipsing responsibility. Peterson's characterization of Meghan as a modern Icarus, commodifying victimhood, has amplified the perception. But Anne's public statements remain measured, emphasizing the corrosive effects of performative morality over personal mythologies that overshadow parental duty. Timing is critical. With the California court rejecting luxury claims days earlier, the monarchy is signaling that public sympathy will increasingly hinge not on royal grievances or sensational headlines, but on which parent prioritizes the children's well-being over personal leverage. Anne has instructed legal advisors to prepare contingency plans should custody arrangements become unstable or prolonged litigation. Expose Archie and Lilibet to commercial exploitation. While the palace insists it has no intention of direct intervention in US court proceedings, it has quietly consulted British child welfare specialists to assess potential future scenarios, including schooling arrangements should Harry return alone to the UK, a move that could open yet another political fault line. In his January 31st broadcast, Jordan Peterson questioned whether Harry would be welcomed back into the institution if the marriage collapsed, framing it as a psychological and symbolic dilemma. Anne has not publicly addressed this question, but has announced that a formal press conference will be held later this week. There, she will outline the monarchy's stance on Harry's constitutional position, financial independence, and any conditions for future proximity to royal life. One point is already indisputable: the children will remain central to any such calculus. The monarchy has weathered scandals before, Princess Anne noted quietly at the close of her briefing, her tone firm but measured. What it cannot tolerate, she emphasized, is the erosion of childhood stability in the pursuit of adult agendas. That simple yet powerful line has since been echoed across British commentary, stretching from tabloid critics to political columnists. Some interpret it as the harshest moral condemnation ever directed at Prince Harry since his departure. Others read it as a warning shot, signalling an unmistakable institutional hardening. For now, the palace is holding its fire, but the shift in tone is undeniable. The Sussex saga is no longer framed as a high-profile celebrity divorce. It has been recalibrated as a test of parental accountability in an era defined by monetized identity, viral outrage, and narrative warfare. A collision between private ambition and the ancient expectation that family, above all else, must remain insulated from spectacle. 3 days after the California Superior Court dismissed Meghan Markle's luxury clause divorce filing, and just 24 hours after Princess Anne publicly denounced the Sussexes' parental lapses in a rare, direct statement, the monarchy is quietly preparing for what insiders say could be its most consequential public intervention in years. Princess Anne will host an official press conference at Marlborough House on Friday, February 6th, an unprecedented media event in the modern royal era, designed to clarify the Crown's stance on 3 pivotal matters: Prince Harry's institutional status, the custody and welfare of Archie and Lilibet, and a stern warning to global media outlets that continue to associate the Crown with the controversies and excesses of estranged family members. Sources suggest Anne has approached the preparation with a combination of resolve and precision. Over the past week, she has conducted strategy briefings with the Lord President of the Privy Council, Alastair Pembroke, the Lord Chamberlain, Andrew Parker, and senior legal advisors overseeing cross-border family and reputational matters. At the core of their discussions lies a stark question. If Harry wishes to return to royal life without Meghan, under what conditions could the Crown accept him? Once unthinkable, the question is now unavoidable. Palace insiders confirm that Harry has not made any formal requests for reintegration, but the collapse of his marriage, the financial fallout of Meghan's commercial ventures, and renewed scrutiny over the Dubai Golden Mirage incidents have shifted the palace's tone for the first time since 2020. Senior advisors are weighing the possibility of partial reintegration, but under rigorous conditions. A leaked draft of Anne's forthcoming address suggests she will establish several non-negotiable principles. First, any return to royal service must be preceded by a full legal and financial disentanglement from all Sussex-branded ventures, including Archwell Productions, Spotify or Netflix contracts, and any trust structures or offshore entities tied to the family brand. Second, a formal letter of intent must be submitted to the Privy Council, affirming personal accountability, renouncing previous public attacks on the monarchy, and pledging adherence to the Royal Code of Representation. A 2023 revision aimed at preventing non-working royals from monetising their titles or narratives. Third, access to royal residences, funds, or ceremonial duties would not be automatic, but conditional. subject to probationary review by a subcommittee including the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh. Anne is also expected to address Jordan Peterson's viral podcast and the renewed tabloid focus on Meghan's alleged presence aboard the Golden Mirage super yacht. While she will not verify or deny Peterson's claims, she will reiterate the Crown's official position: no involvement, no endorsement, and no recognition of those events as royal affiliated. The message is deliberate and dual-pronged. The monarchy distances itself from scandal, and it demands the same from those who once held its titles. More provocatively, Anne plans a direct appeal to international media outlets and digital platforms. A senior palace official previewed the tone. "We are not passive observers. Repeated misrepresentation of the Crown in association with private ventures pursuing personal gain is a matter the palace will challenge publicly and legally." The Royal Legal Office has already documented over 100 instances in the past year where Crown branding was used without authorization: books, streaming content, public speaking tours, all citing titles no longer in active use. Under growing pressure from both Parliament and the public, the palace is drawing a hard, unbreakable line. Ex-royals may not attach themselves opportunistically to royal symbols, titles, or reputation. Anne's upcoming speech will introduce a term currently circulating internally: symbolic closure. It signals a formal severance, not only of titles and duties, but of narratives. The era of half in, half out that has defined the Sussex presence since 2020 is coming to an end. No royal references in memoirs, no ambiguous insinuations in podcasts, no implication that private branding choices are implicitly royal. Meghan has remained silent. Her legal team has declined all media requests following the court's dismissal of her luxury clause claims. Speculation persists that a retaliatory interview could be in the works, possibly with a US network sympathetic to the couple's previous narrative. Clarence House sources describe the palace mood as resolute but not vindictive. The goal, they say, is not punishment but protection. Protection of the institution's moral framework, its lineage, and the two children who, in Anne's words, deserve structure, not spectacle. In the final stretch of what has been described internally as the most volatile royal week in years, Princess Anne is preparing to deliver what palace aides are calling the final word, not merely on Harry and Meghan, divorce settlements, or symbolic reintegration, but on a broader cultural reckoning. At the conclusion of her press conference, Anne will reportedly issue a concise but powerful declaration emphasizing moral clarity over media ambiguity. The message will affirm that the Crown will no longer tolerate the repackaging of institutional suffering for commercial gain, a rebuke not just to Meghan's past interviews and statements, but also to an entire culture of ghostwriters, influencers, and content creators blurring memoir and manipulation. Jordan Peterson's characterization of Meghan as an archetypal hypocrite, though not echoed verbatim by the palace, catalyzed a necessary private reckoning, highlighting the monarchy's vulnerability in an era dominated by narrative distortion. Anne's expected closing line is as clear as it is firm. A royal name is not a mask for profit nor a stage for spectacle. It is a responsibility, earned, held, and when misused, relinquished. Diplomatic in tone, yet widely interpreted as a repudiation of the entire Sussex media operation, it also symbolically ends an era in which silence shielded reputational decay. The palace is no longer hiding behind protocol. It speaks with purpose. This final reckoning is about more than image. It is about legacy. The Crown's mission is generational, preserving integrity anchored in values that resist commodification, restraint, accountability, public duty, and above all, truth. Meghan Markle may never answer the questions about the Golden Mirage, Jordan Peterson's analysis, or Princess Anne's measured censure, but the palace no longer requires her response. With these announcements, the monarchy has drawn a clear line. The age of ambiguity is over. The House of Windsor now defines the boundary between institution and individual, royal obligation and personal performance. The message is universal. Not for Meghan alone. Exposure is not honesty, platform is not virtue, and curated suffering is not moral authority. For the royal family, long accused of aloofness, this may be the most radical act of all, reclaiming meaning not through image, but through integrity. February 2026 will not be remembered solely as the month the marriage ended, but as the moment the Crown chose to speak, not in outrage, but in unwavering order, and in the eyes of Princess Anne and the Windsor establishment, that may prove to be the most enduring legacy of all. Like, comment, and subscribe for the latest updates on royal affairs.